Come on in. I've already got the recording going, so I'm sure somebody will remind me anyway. Maria, where are you? Do you have to wear a mask? Oh, I've got you muted. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm at Saddleback. I'm at the library.
Okay.
I have a microbiology test tomorrow, so I was at the tutoring center earlier and I just stayed to do the Zoom class.
Okay. Are there many people there?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty empty.
Well,
my headphones, the plug thing is not compatible with my computer, so I have to join the Zoom from my phone and the computer so I can hear you, but you can see me from the computer. That's why I'm on the Zoom twice.
okay. Okay. Have any of you ever joined one of the meetings we're having that had already started and already got onto the pages and such? No trouble coming in?
No trouble. It just
No trouble.
pops you right in.
Up right into whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I go ahead and get started, anybody coming later will just be ushered in, I guess.
Yeah, they'll just drop in.
Okay. So I didn't really say it. I could easily do it in another email, but on Thursday, the only obligation you have to this class is the practicum. And at the end of the practicum, you'll see your score, and that night I'll send up the scores to you. Don't rely on Zoom. Please don't rely on, don't rely on Canvas for your score. Okay. The other thing is this time, since we're a little bit more relaxed, I am, you're not. Wandering in to start the test at 2:15, 2:25, that's fine. When it gets that late though, then I usually send out a little email to the person or persons and ask them to start the test. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to rush. You'll have your full 80 minutes on this test. Okay.
Charlie,
Yeah,
how many questions approximately are we going to have on the actual cat images?
I answered that.
I know you did. I forgot.
13.
Okay, 13. That's right. Thank you.
Okay. Are you seeing my cursor?
No, I'm seeing
No.
you.
You're not sharing. Are you meaning to share?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Let's try it a different way. Are you seeing my cursor now?
Yes.
Oh, geez, that was so simple. Every time I have tried to just push the share button, it never worked. So I always went the long way around, re-entered. But if that works from now on, I'll be happy. In fact, I'll probably miss online stuff because I guess we're going back to face in spring. At least they're hoping. Got to do it sometime. Okay. I know you've gone over all of this stuff. I'm going to start with the cat muscle slides. You already have this, how muscles are named. That's posted on the other class as well. The cat muscle slides, these are not posted. Okay. These are slides that are unlabeled. Okay. They do have numbers on them. You've seen the slide before, but you haven't seen it this way. Okay. Now you've seen this slide before, but what I want to do is just refresh your memory one more time or help it sink in. This entire structure from here, triangular to here, and here. This is the trapezius. You do not have to know the three parts of the trapezius, so I'm not going to take your time up with it right now. Okay. Anybody have any trouble with that one?
I have
No.
a quick question.
Yeah.
For the practicum too, are these the same pictures that are going to be on it? Like just picked from the bunch?
No.
Oh, okay.
Some of these are going to be on it. Absolutely. Okay. But there are other pictures of cats without any labels because they can confuse you on the test. On the test, these labels match up, of course, to your little sheet that you've got. They don't match up to anything on the test. Okay. So you do need to know them, but I know that if you know these muscles as you see them here, you'll know them on any of the cats that I have posted for you. This large flap-like muscle here that starts where the trapezius quits. This is the latissimus dorsi coming forward to the humerus. And these vent-like muscles are the what? Should I be giving you a chance to guess at them first?
Erector spinae.
No,
Hmm.
I don't know if I understood what you said. This time it's the rhomboides.
Oh,
These
yeah.
are the rhomboides that pull the scapula together. Number two is still the latissimus dorsi. It's been flipped up though. Here it's down. Now here it's being rolled up. So you can see these ray-like muscles. Starburst. You know what those are?
Serratus anterior.
Serratus anterior. Okay. Now, you can learn from this. I mean, the three number sevens can all be called the deltoid. That's all you have to call them. This is, however, the spinal deltoid, the acromiodeltoid, and the clavodeltoid. This is unlabeled, the triceps. And next to the triceps is always this one muscle. This is
Brachialis.
exactly brachialis. These first two never give anybody any trouble because we don't have a lot of chest muscles. Here we have the pectoralis major and larger in the cat, the pectoralis minor. The cat has a third muscle, the xiphohumeralis, but humans don't have that. And for that reason, we don't cover it other than me pointing it out to you so that you don't confuse it with something else.
Charlie, you said humans don't have the what?
This muscle. I really don't want to say it again, but
Okay.
you know, I don't want to confuse people. Okay, in the arm, deep in the arm, but with the upper arm. That's the biceps brachii. Here's the scapula, big in the cat. And the upper muscle is the supraspinatus, the lower, the infraspinatus. Now, this is the teres major, but you're not going to be asked it on the cat. You will be asked it on the human. Teres minor is just this little muscle here. You're not going to be asked it on the cat. You will get asked this one. This muscle and this muscle are the same, plus a third head. In between the two is the triceps.
Brachialis.
Here's the triceps again. And remember, just in front of the triceps, the brachialis. In front of that is the clavodeltoid, the spinal deltoid, and here's the acromiodeltoid. And what did I tell you? You only have to call it deltoid. So if it's pinned here, if it's pinned up here, if it's pinned over here, deltoid is all you have to say. On the arm of the cat, on the underside, we have the flexor muscles. Try to get your orientation, looking for this in the picture, long, flat muscle. This is the palmaris longus. The muscle on this side of it is the flexor carpi.
Ulnaris.
It is ulnaris, okay, by number 13. And use your study guides if you review these on your own, okay. It is the flexor carpi ulnaris, but can we really tell that? Let's go back to the palmaris longus. I can always tell that. And here's a flexor carpi on the other side. It'll be radialis. But still, how do we know which is the radial side? Because of this little muscle here. This is the brachioradialis. On that side. Plus, if you know the cat, the arm comes around, the thumb is right here. So this is the radial side. On this one, This is the muscle to hone in on. This short curved one, it only goes about halfway across. It's the what?
Frontal.
Pronator teres.
Mm.
Okay. That's the pronator teres. This one is our long, flat muscle again. This is the palmaris longus. It may not look quite the same, but long, wide, flat, leaving this to be the flexor carpi radialis. Way up here is the brachioradialis. So this is a tough one. It's not even labeled. What is this? It's a muscle that can be seen from both sides, just like the brachioradialis can. It's the extensor carpi radialis. Looks better from the other side, and that's the side I would choose to show it to you.
Charlie,
Here we
number
go.
14. Number 14, which muscle?
15,
14.
palmaris longus.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, here's the brachioradialis. It's number 17 in this thing, but you won't have the number like that. The next one under it is the extensor carpi radialis. This is the extensor digitorum. It can also be called the extensor digitorum communis. Goes out to all of the digits. And it's not labeled down here, but we would have the extensor carpi ulnaris. Probably labeled in the next picture. Sure enough, extensor carpi ulnaris is here. This little teeny one is the extensor digitorum minimi. And this one above it is the extensor digitorum communis. Here's our extensor carpi radialis, and here's the brachioradialis. The masseter on the side of the face, that one, never any trouble. Underneath the chin, the muscle that opens the mouth, the digastric or digastricus, these two. 25, running through the center, is the sternohyoid. Sternohyoides. 23. You really have to have good eyes to see the needle here. Going to this point, this is the mylohyoides, this triangular area. Going from the sternum to the mastoid process is the sternomastoides. Here's the digastricus again, the mylohyoides again, the sternohyoid. On the lower part of the cat, this is the external oblique. The striations run down and out, down and out. You can see a little bit of the serratus anterior. Running down the middle of the cat on its linea alba, okay, is the rectus abdominis. It never displays as nicely as it does on models, however. This is the internal oblique, with the striations running upwards, not downwards. They run downwards on the external oblique They run upwards on the internal oblique. Here's the external oblique peeled back. And here's some transverse abdominis right here. On the legs, we lifted up the IT tract, iliotibial tract. You can also call it tensor fascia lenta, but IT tract is nicer, I think. When you pull it away from the muscle that it's above, the muscle above shows, and it's the vastus lateralis, followed behind it by the large biceps femoris. This is really a great shot. This is the gluteus medius, the gluteus maximus, the back end. And the caudofemoralis is a muscle we don't have, so we don't cover in this class. Just telling you so that you don't think that is anything you have to know. This is the sartorius. When you open the thighs to the anterior, the sartorius covers the lateral part of the leg, and the medial part of the leg is covered by the gracilis. We bisect them both. This one's not finished yet. It is up here, so that we can see the muscles underneath.
Question.
Yes.
Are you going to be using the same photos that you're as these, or they're going to be like the
No,
human?
I will use some photos like this, but I will use additional photos as well.
Okay, thank you.
Even though I'm using additional photos, it should not pose a problem. If somebody doesn't change their appearance that much, and you take 2 or 3 cell phone pictures of them, you know it's them, no matter what, and you will on the cat. Okay. On this cat, the gracilis has been pulled apart. Okay, here's gracilis, here's gracilis. This is sartorius. Underneath, we see a triangular area right here. That triangular area is the adductor magnus. You can always say adductor magnus. On a cat, we would properly call it adductor femoris, but I told you I will be calling it adductor magnus.
Charlie, did you say adductor ADD?
Yes.
I always miss it. Thank you.
Okay. This little muscle is the pectineus. It also helps to adduct the leg, bring it in. This muscle we're going to do in just a second, but it's here now. This is the semimembranosus. Semimembranosus, one of the hamstrings. '37 we did a moment ago. That was the biceps femoris. At the very back of the leg, there's a tendinous looking muscle. Looks like a squid tentacle, actually. And you can lift it up. It's tough. It's the semitendinosus. The semitendinosus, the semimembranosus, and the biceps femoris are the 3 muscles that make up the hamstrings. Okay. Here's the this muscle here, number 39, it's got a hole in the wrong place. This is the semimembranosus. From here, follow the arrow. Up to here is the adductor magnus. And here's the little pectineus. This is the gracilis pulled back after it's been cut from here. This is the gracilis. Gracilis. Sartorius. Sartorius. '34 is Sartorius again. And when we lift it up, we find this really tough circular muscle. It's like a true tendon again. It's been bisected. They usually are. This is the rectus femoris, straight on the femur. And medial to it is the vastus medialis. The vastus medialis, the rectus femoris, and on the other side, the vastus lateralis, which we saw earlier. And underneath this rectus femoris, the vastus intermedius. Those are the four quadriceps muscles. Okay, here's 43 again. 42 shows you where the vastus intermedius is, but you will not be asked that on a cat or any living specimen. If you're going to ask you at all, it'll be on a model. 43 is the one you wanted, this one. Rectus femoris.
But it's important to know that it's one of the four of the quads.
You need to know all four of the quads.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. This is a duplicate picture. Here's the gastrocnemius, a double-headed muscle. Know especially that it's important that it does plantar flexion, and then know the opposite, dorsiflexion, when the toes are aimed skyward. This muscle on the front of the leg is the tibialis anterior. This muscle right behind it, coming out to the toes, is the extensor digitorum longus. I like this picture a bit. This is the gastrocnemius again. This is just fascia. Gastrocnemius, and under it is the soleus. And then you have the long fibularis longus. And then here, the extensor digitorum longus. And in the front, unlabeled in this one, is the tibialis anterior. Okay, I'll be leaving these here. Or maybe I'll put them over with the other group in the other class, so everybody gets a chance at them. Okay, let's look at the human model. Okay,
Charlie,
yes,
can you go over which muscles are synergistic and antagonistic?
it would take hours.
Oh, not all of them. Just you said that you were going to stress the ones that we should know.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, I have stressed them already, but as I go through it, I will, okay?
Thank you.
I'll try to remember here. Okay, you've seen this set. Okay, so we're just really naming for a moment. This is the trapezius. We don't see both sides at once, of course. And 2 is the latissimus dorsi going around. 3 doesn't show well on this model. that will in the next is over here. That's serratus anterior. 9 is the infraspinatus. 8 is the supraspinatus. The only addition here is 4, the rhomboides. The rectus abdominis. This is the internal oblique because the striations are going upward. Okay. And number 29 is considered to be the transverse because they're going, the striations, more or less straight across. The pectoralis major. And minor. Now, I haven't mentioned any antagonists or synergists yet, okay? Because they're every muscle, every single muscle except the facial muscles has an antagonist. And I'm just going to emphasize the ones that are the most important and likely to show on the test for you. Okay. This is one of the arm muscles that models that we have. And in order to understand it, you look for two things. Look for the central tendon coming up. That's probably, even if it didn't have a 14, the palmaris longus. But this is the giveaway right here. This is the pronator teres coming in. That's the pronator teres. This has got to be the flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, and flexor carpi ulnaris. The flexor carpi ulnaris and the flexor carpi radialis are synergists when they flex the hand. They each pull on both sides here and bring the hand up. Again, we have our number 16, pronator teres. It pronates the forearm. Okay, behind it is the flexor carpi radialis again. This muscle in front, we're really looking down on the arm now. And this is the brachioradialis. We really have a large brachioradialis in the human. The brachioradialis followed next by a two-headed muscle. These two belong together. This one does not belong with this one. These two are the extensor carpi radialis. This is the extensor digitorum communis. Here it is again, the extensor digitorum communis. That's the other part of it too. Here's the extensor carpi radialis. This number 20 refers, that's supposed to be an arrow. This, and that's the extensor digitorum minimi. And here's the extensor carpi ulnaris. The extensor carpi ulnaris and the extensor carpi radialis are synergists. They hyperextend the hand. So if you were putting your hand in front of you and like to have a car or somebody stop, you put your hand up. That's the two that would do that. This is the triceps way down here. Okay. This is the second part of the triceps. And always in front of the triceps is the brachialis. So this is the brachialis. What happened to the biceps brachii? It's up here. Here's the biceps brachii. Here's the brachialis. They're both synergists. They flex the forearm. Eight was the supraspinatus. 7 is the deltoids. Nine is the infraspinatus. On the upper leg, larger in humans than in the cat, comparatively, the gluteus maximus. The gluteus medius is underneath this white sheath, which is an extension of this one down here, the iliotibial tract, or the tensor fascia lata. Underneath the tensor fascia lata, if we can lift it up, we can expose this muscle. This is the vastus lateralis. This is the biceps femoris. This is the semitendinosus. Now, if you think of it, the vastus lateralis is one of the 4 quadriceps. 37 and 38, the biceps femoris and the semitendinosus are both part of the hamstrings. So vastus lateralis is antagonistic to each of the other 2. However, 37 and 38, since they're both hamstrings, are synergistic to each other. Way at the back, and this is the calf, this is 44. This is the gastrocnemius, capable of plantar flexion, stand on tiptoe. 46 is the soleus, does the same thing, so these are synergists. 47 is the fibularis longus. .48 is the extensor digitorum longus. And then there's 45 in the front by your shin is the tibialis anterior. The tibialis anterior is responsible for dorsiflexion. So it's an antagonist to the soleus and to the gastrocnemius. Looking at the inside of the thigh, here's the knee down here. So you know which way we're facing. On top of the femur is the rectus femoris, one of the quadriceps. Here's the vastus medialis. The medialis is one of the quadriceps. The vastus lateralis is over here, one of the quadriceps. The longest muscle in the body is the sartorius. Okay, somebody's, I thought I had everybody muted, but somebody needs to mute, please. Okay. 36 is part of the adductor magnus. So is this muscle here. This particular 36 is also called the adductor longus. I told you that could come up. I'm not sure if it's on the test or not, but adductor longus is a proper answer for this. Also a proper answer for this piece is adductor magnus. Okay, it'll be on the test one way or the other. And since you're supposed to know this piece by both names, you ought to be able to pick out the correct name. Both of them will not be there. This little piece here unlabeled is the pectineus. It's probably labeled early, further on.
Charlie,
Yes,
adductor longus in the front and mangus in the back.
adductor longus. No, it's medial. It's in the middle of the thigh. If you bring your legs together, the adductor longus is touching from one leg to the other,
Mhm.
right at the top of your thigh on the medial sides.
And mangus on this longus, right?
This is the adductor longus. It's also known as the adductor magnus.
Oh, same?
Yes.
Okay.
This down here, this piece, is only known as adductor magnus. This is the only
Oh,
one
okay.
that's known by adductor longus.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, this one is a little tricky to figure out. First off, this is the IT band. Okay, so underneath it, we would expect, if we lifted it even from the other side, we did from the other side a moment ago, we expect the same muscle. This is the vastus lateralis. Okay, the gluteus maximus, of course, medius, IT band. You've seen these. This is them over here, these two on the back of the legs. We see it on bodybuilders all the time. This is the semitendinosus, which is more medial, and more lateral is the biceps femoris. Okay, now here, this muscle has been labeled adductor magnus. You cannot see the adductor magnus portion that we also call the adductor longus. It's up higher. Here's 37, 38, 39 that make up the hamstrings. Biceps femoris again, semitendinosus, and what looks like a small muscle. This is the semimembranosus. It goes completely under the tendinosus and comes out on the other side. And I have a picture of that to show you in a moment. Okay, this is adductor magnus back here. You're looking at it from the side. This is the abductor longus on the other side. It's being crossed over by the most medial muscle in the thigh, and that is the gracilis. This is adductor magnus here. It has four parts. It has four parts. but they all serve to adduct the femur or adduct the leg. The semimembranosus is peeking in here, but still I've got a better picture. Underneath the rectus femoris, when we pull it up, is covered with a sheath again, the vastus intermedius, the fourth of the quadriceps. Here's the vastus medialis. This is the vastus lateralis. Here, this one, nice and rounded, elongated and rounded. This one is the adductor longus, right here. How do we know which side is which? How did I know that that's vastus lateralis and that's vastus medialis over here?
Because the sartorius.
Because the sartorius starts with the lateral hip, comes across to the medial knee. Okay, so lateral is this side, medial is this side. Thank you. Okay, these are all repeats, but with type. So I'm just going to scroll until I see something. This is a repeat. The masseter muscle, the sternomastoideus, the sternohyoideus. See under there in a moment. This is the teres major, and this is the teres minor. The teres major, here's a good one for you that want to know the synergists. The teres major, where the needle is on, is synergistic to the latissimus dorsi. They both insert on the humerus. This is a wasted picture, really. It's just showing you the pectineus right here. They show you the pectineus, but they don't bother pointing out that this is the adductor longus. This muscle inside is the prime flexor of the leg. This is the psoas major. It's the prime flexor of the leg. Don't forget that handout I gave you. Don't forget the phrenic nerve. I wouldn't want it on the test myself, but I'm always asked to put it there. I'm always obliged to tell you about it. Here's the extensor pollicis longus, the hitchhiker's muscle. On the back of the hand is the extensor retinaculatum, this bracelet. It guides the tendons, keeps them apart. Here's the flexor retinaculatum, right here. What muscle must this one be?
Ulnaris.
Palmaris longus. Palmaris longus. Okay. Right. Frontalis. Orbicularis oculi. zygomaticus for smiling, but the maxillae again for close the mouth. The temporalis for chewing. 93, the levator labii superioris to bring up the upper lip. 57, orbicularis oris to pucker the mouth. 62, the buccinator. It helps in chewing and also in blowing anything, a candle or soup or whatever. Muscle at the top of the eye is the superior rectus. Here it is here. It would come across if it were present. Down at the bottom of the eye is the inferior rectus. On the medial side is the medial rectus. And the lateral rectus would extend from here over to here. I think the functions of those four muscles should be pretty clear. A little bit tougher on the last two. This is the superior oblique, comes up, curves around, latches on right here. And when it pulls the eye, it will abduct it, turn it outward, and bring it down. The attachment's higher than this point. So when it pulls downward and outward. The lateral rectus, I don't know why it's not next. The lateral rectus underneath comes out and latches on right here. The lateral oblique, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The lateral oblique causes the eye to be abducted and to turn upward. Here's the internal and external intercostals. In groups, the external intercostals raise the ribs for breathing in. The internal intercostals, when they're used, they're not always, but in running and exercising, you use them to force air out of the lungs so that you get more air in quickly. So therefore, forced exhalation. This last thing I have for you is only two pictures. Hang on. When it comes to the appendages, the arm and the leg, people often have a bit of a problem with it. So you might want to come back to this one and take a look at it. The numbers I've used correspond to the numbers that I've given you before. Okay. You haven't seen this before, however. Okay. Supraspinatus on the backside, infraspinatus on the backside, teres minor, teres major, deltoid, triceps, brachialis, biceps brachii. This one is the brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis, extensor digitorum communis. Little teeny one right here is the extensor digitorum minimi, and the extensor then carpi ulnaris. The extensor pollicis is also the extensor pollicis longus right here, and it goes to the thumb. On the reverse side of the arm, here's our pronator teres. It's really the one that helps you most. Find that pronator teres, and the next one has to be the flexor carpi radialis. The next one has to be palmaris longus, and then flexor carpi ulnaris. over here. This number 36 is also the abductor, adductor longus. You can also call it adductor magnus. Okay, that's fine by me. Let's look at it over here. I'm going to take this one and rotate it around. This is the adductor longus. Here's the little gracilis showing on the side. Here it is showing well. And behind it is adductor magnus and another adductor magnus. All three of these are adductor magnus. This one gets a special name. Okay. Like you got three people in the military. You got a private, a sergeant, and a general. One of them gets a real special name, the general, I guess. Okay, coming down the front of the leg, rectus femoris, then the vastus medialis, and the vastus lateralis, the sartorius running down the center. Gluteus maximus, medius, IT band. This one is the biceps femoris. That's the only one you can see here. Gastrocnemius, soleus, fibularis, extensor digitorum longus, and then the tibialis anterior shows in both of these. So we talked about 36 and 35, gracilis. 38 is a semitendinosus. Couldn't see it here because it's way in the background. Now we can see it, and underneath it is the semimembranosus. This one here's the semitendinosus number 38, but you see the two arrows pointing to semimembranosus underneath number 38. They go all the way up. They're really larger. That's a semimembranosus. 35 is pointing to the gracilis again, and 37 to the biceps femoris. Okay. I don't know if that helps you or not. It certainly can't hurt going over and over and over things is one way of learning. Okay.
Charlie, we can look at this recording again.
You can look at the recording. I'll probably, I'll definitely post it here, but I'm going to post it also in the other class.
Okay.
Because there are a few people who didn't sign up for this, and you know, if they want to see it bad enough, they'll take a look at it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? I'm talked out for today. Sorry.
Thank you.
It drives me nuts, all those.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Email me or stay around, your choice. You can go ahead and exit. We'll see you on
Thank you,
Thursday.
Charlie.
Been
Bye.
very well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.